Welcome to Channel AMAC, your insight to the Australian visa system. Good day everyone, my name is Carl Young, your online YouTube visa consultant. Are you interested about migrate to Australia? Why don't you consider to subscribe to my channel and turn on a little bell on the side, so once we have all the updates and news, you'll be the first one of getting all the insight. Now, recently we learned that the government of Australia, obviously Prime Minister, had come on with the media conference on Monday, announcing the full opening of Australia, and which will occur on the 21st of February, very soon. Now, the reason why is there is real need for the economy to have more workers. So are you ready to go to Australia to work? Perhaps you have some sort of skill and occupation that might be of the need for Australia, and perhaps to migrate through your employment as well. Now, in this video, I would like to discuss how you should pave the way in order perhaps in the future be employment sponsored, and how the visa actually work. I noticed I've done it employment sponsored visa long ago, so I'll take the decision today to provide you an updated 2022 employment sponsored video detail. And please also note there is a idea from the parliamentary committee to actually make a little bit of amendment and changes to allow the employment sponsored visa perhaps to be simplified and make it easier. But anyway, it's not yet announced, so make sure you subscribe to my channel. If that is the case, that will be a best opportunity to migrate as well. Now, first of all, I would like to take you to have a look what it has been going on. As you see that, you know, the workers are climbing to build the houses. Now, this is just one of the industry, but across all different industry in Australia, there is a real need for more skilled workers. So the economy, business and finance, wage per cap as workers demand grows. So there's more workers required, and I think this will also drive, because of the inflation worldwide, it will also drive up the wage rate will be increased as well. Obviously, this will all be summed up because of the coming up general elections, perhaps in May. We don't know the actual date yet, but it should be very soon. So that's the opportunity. There's plenty of this kind of news. If you want to Google, just punch in Australia requirement demand of workers, you see a lot of these news out there. So that's the opportunity. That's why I had predicted in the next 3 to 5 years, this period window will be the best timing for migrate into Australia. Okay, so what do you need? Right now, first of all, I cannot stress much, but I need to say more and loud and continuous and repeating this. Skill assessment. You need to get skill assessment. Well, some people do come to me and say, look, but 482 visa doesn't require skill assessment. Yeah, but some trades and for some country of origin will require skill assessment, and skill assessment does not harm. It's not expensive, and it's a one way to actually show that your skill and experience does meet the standard of Australia. So it's actually very good for you to actually find job as well if you already got a skill assessment. Not necessarily for visa purpose, but it can be used for your job interview and your CV. So skill assessment is vital. Why? Because you see down here, just let's avoid the overview. You can have a read if you want to do Google, and you can find this one, Home Affairs Skill Assessment. They will have plenty of information there, but what I want to show you is it is mandatory. You might need, but I will say you must. Okay, you might need skill assessment for the following visa. So General Skill Migration Employment Sponsor, TSS 485, and all that. So anything related to skill type of visa, you need skill assessment. So get it done. Okay, and I've done a full list within my YouTube channel with a playlist of all the skill assessing authority and explanation with different type of jobs. Well, there are some occupation that I haven't actually been going through, but if you are interested, more than welcome to leave a comment right down below. I can probably do a video for you. Now, once you got that done, obviously, once the border open on the 21st or 22nd February, you might come into Australia, and perhaps that's an opportunity. Now, there's a couple of ways to actually come in. There's if you come in as a visitor visa, like a tourist, obviously you do not hold a work right. It will be a little bit difficult for you to find job, because generally employer in Australia will first of all check your visa. If your visa doesn't allow you to work under the current regulations, the Australian employers will probably more than reluctant to actually hire you or probably sponsor you, because the sponsoring visa does take a lot of effort to go through. That's the reason I'm doing this video today, to actually show you how complex it is. So you want to make sure you have all the equipment and tools, like skill assessment, your IELTS, your everything done, so make it easier for the employer. Otherwise, the employer, why would they employ you? Because they gotta spend so much money and time to actually get a skilled worker with a visa. So let's jump in there and have a look how complex an employer sponsor TSS 482 visa look like. Okay, so you may find this web page as well. All you need to do is punch in medium term stream or 482. You should be able to easily navigate into this one. So the first thing I wanted to show you is, you see at the top right up there, that toggle there, I've toggled it into sponsor. So this is specifically for sponsor out there. Okay, now although the fee's only saying $330, but you also need to, you need to also pay Skilling Australian Fund. Now that's for employer to pay. How much it is, we'll show you soon. Now, employer does not mean any employee could actually sponsor you. Now, the first thing is that the employer is at the category of your occupation. Well, that's for sure, but still a lot of people don't get it. It's not just an employment, it will get you a visa. If an employer operates a restaurant, now obviously you have to be a chef, a cook, or a restaurant manager. If you're an IT profession, can a restaurant sponsor you? No, it cannot be. It has to match directly from the category of business and your occupation. So it's not just someone who wants to pay you and work, you can actually get a visa. No, I know some countries allow that, but not Australia. Okay, now the employer required to be a standard business sponsor. So that the basically what the employer required to do is they need to provide all the legitimate document, lawful document and registration to show that they are lawfully registered business or company in Australia, and they have paid all the taxes and they have no debts to the taxation office. And that will basically get them the standard business sponsor. And they need to nominate the worker. Okay, how the nomination work, they go through with the skill occupation list. So you need to check. In this video, I will not go through detail of skill occupation list, but you need to check which list you are in. And there is a proposed policy changes to merge the 2 or perhaps 3 lists of occupations, so to make it simplified. But not now. But all you need to do is go in there and check it out. Be unable to find Australian workers. How can they demonstrate that? There is what they call labor market testing. The detail of this is basically the employer, before they want to employ you or sponsor you and lodge a visa, they are required a month before to post 2 paid job advertisements. And within these 2 paid job advertisement, they require to generate a report, which a professional service like us will do that for them. But they need to provide the information to show that they cannot find the right person to actually work in that region. Okay, and that is required. And they also need to register themselves at the jobactive.gov.au. That's another job registration at the government's webpage. If they don't do that, this whole nomination will fail. Okay, they cannot even nominate and get you a visa. They need to pay annual market salary rate. So currently the minimum is 53,900, but there is differences in some specific occupations. Some require to be paid higher, some require to stay at the minimum standards. So it really depends. Okay, and that is really a very technical part that a professional agent should actually assist and help the employer out, or perhaps you out. Have a genuine position. Now that is exactly what we had said at the beginning. Now they need to, a restaurant provide job for chef and cook, okay, an IT firm provide job for software engineers or network engineers, and the architect firm provide job for civil engineer, provide for architects. A law firm provide a job for solicitor. That's very easy to go through. Paralegals. Accountant firm provide jobs for accountants or tax agents. Okay, so you cannot mix. You cannot just go there and find out, oh, my friend operate a business in IT, but my background is in tourism and hospitality. I would like to work there, and they offer me the work. Can I get a visa? No, because the genuine position availability will be deemed not successful. And they need to enter into a written contract. That's generally the agent or the consultant or lawyers will help the employer. So you need to get that done, and no discriminatory practice, employment condition equivalent to Australian workers. So that's all the Fair Work information required, and that's just for the employer. So you can see how much the employer required to go through, and that is the reason that the government is looking forward to simplify this, because it's just too much. And plus, they need to pay this. What is this? The Skilling Australian Fund. Let's have a look how much it is. Let's calculate it, and you will see. Now, if a small business want to sponsor someone under TSS visa, they are required to pay additional $1,200 per year. What does that mean? That means if you want to get a visa for 2 years, that will be $2,400. If you want to get a visa to work there for 4 years, that will be $4,800. That's what the employer requires to pay for. Wow, isn't it? If they want to sponsor you, they need to pay all this money before they actually pay you the salary. And that's something that stop a lot of employers to actually issuing visa for workers. Because that is the problem. And look at this, if they have a bigger size of business, they are required to pay more. Wow. And that's another difficulty of why a lot of overseas skilled workers, and why the employment sponsor visa, TSS visa, had not been widely used since the introduction of this. I'm not gonna say the word, but anyway, you probably can imagine. All right, so if you're the applicant, what do you need? Okay, the eligibility, let's go there. There's no age requirement. Now that's great, but if you do want to transfer into a permanent residency, you have to be before 45. But if you're over 45, you can continually getting a work visa unlimitedly, and getting all that visas for you, but you probably will never get to permanent residency. Anyway, holder of appropriate visa, that means you have a visa. That basically says you have a visa. You don't come in unlawfully. You do not come in with a bolt and with no visa and say, look, I wanted to apply for a TSS visa. No, you cannot do that anymore. Have complied with previous visa condition. Well, that's pretty easy. So you haven't breached any visa conditions. For example, you were a student, or you were working holiday makers, backpackers, and you haven't breached any law. And if you were a student back then, you have completed all your studies and things like that, so you have not breached any of your visa condition previously. Be nominated by approved sponsor. So approved sponsor is what we have just discussed, and they need to go through all these job advertisements, pay this and pay that, and get the employment written contract done, pay all the taxes, and they lodge what they call nomination application. So the nomination application will indicate your name and your occupation in there in order, and they will have reference numbers. So then you will use that reference number to create your visa application. Okay, without that, you cannot literally lodge a TSS employment sponsor visa solely by yourself, because the first page will ask who nominate you, and do you have the TRN? TRN is the transaction reference number from the standard business sponsor and the nomination application. If you don't have that, you cannot lodge it. Okay. Work for your nominating employer. Well, that sounds pretty well. Sure, yeah. If I've got a job from that employer, I should work for that employer. Well, that's pretty sure. But the reason that the government put this one in here is that, you know what? There's actually a lot of people. For example, they get employed by there's a chef employed by ABC restaurant, and because his skill, he has made a lot of beautiful dishes and things. Over the years, over the month, he met other friends, and the other friends said, "Oh, I know that you make beautiful dishes for ABC restaurant. Would you like to come over the weekend and help us out to do a booking from my friend for whatever the event or party? We'll pay you $500 for that one." Well, if you accept it, that means you're working not for your nominating employer, and that actually breaches the visa conditions. Okay, so you got to be very careful. You may say, look, I would love to do that, but that probably will, trigger some lawfulness of my condition currently. So that is what they're trying to say, because that's just one instance, because there are some employers specifically or employee specifically wanting to do something more and make more money, which is probably you cannot do that. But if it's going to be your spouse, that's fine, because your spouse doesn't have that constraint on her visa condition. Okay, have relevant skill, qualification, and employment background. So that's exactly what we have begin with this video. So a restaurant employed with a chef, and the chef should have his commercial cookery background. Well, that's for sure. You cannot just find someone who graduated as an IT and say, look, I will appoint you as a chef. Can that be done? No, they have to have that background qualification. Okay, and in addition, they are required to have at least 2 years relevant work experiences in that occupation. So if they have a commercial cookery background qualification, graduated, and after graduation they have 2 years of work experiences as a chef, that will meet the requirement. Okay, and this is the additional thing that's been injected in when the last time they have changes made in this visa category, which cause a lot of issues as well, because a lot of graduates they don't have that kind of work experiences, and hence they are struggling of getting a sponsor. So I believe this probably will be amended. I'm not too sure how, but see how that goes. Probably amended down to 1 year, perhaps. I'm not too sure. Anyway, see here, positive skill assessment. Now, there is exemption, of course, but again, I would strongly suggest anyone who wanted to come to Australia and perhaps be sponsored out with a work and job, skill assessment is very vital. And plus, skill assessment is very good for your job hunting procedures. And plus, during the employment or employment visa, you can actually jump abroad to lodge independent skill migration, general skill migration, that you can use this skill assessment as well. Okay, now you need to get yourself a health insurance. It's not too costly. It's around, for a person, it's around $100 to $150 per month. And you meet the health requirement and character and English, and that's you need to have a minimum standard English. That's I think that's around average 6, 5, and some occupation required to be higher. You need to check what occupation that you are in. All right, so this is a quick 20-minute video in regards to 2022 TSS 482 employment sponsor visa. So there's an opportunity opening up as Australians looking for more job and more workers overseas. Perhaps you can come in with the experience and qualification and license or registration to actually gain yourself an employment. Through this way, you can also get to a permanent residency. Anyway, should you have more question, query, more than welcome to leave a comment right down below. Now, see you soon. Goodbye.